Since 2016, towards the end of every year, a small village in the heart of the South Wales valleys puts on an impressive display. From the middle of October, in the run-up to Remembrance Sunday, the village of Ponte Wain adorns its lampposts with bright red poppies from one end of the community to the other. Its aim to support the Royal British Legion poppy appeal may be obvious, but the other reason is less apparent. It includes the village's seemingly absent war memorial and the forgotten family grave of a local boy who left for the Battle of the Somme and never returned. This is the story of the Pontywaun Poppies. At 11 p.m. on the 4th of August 1914, Great Britain declared war on Germany, and in doing so, entered the nation into one of the most deadliest conflicts in history, World War I. At the start of the war, much of the British population rallied behind the government to show their support, and by the 5th of September 1914, over 225,000 men had signed up to fight in what became known as Kitchener's Army, with recruitment figures in Wales being high. By the end of 1915, the front lines were sustaining heavy casualties, and despite extensive fighting on all sides, the lines established the year before remained practically unchanged. The war had become the most persistent stalemate in history. When the dust finally settled at 11 a.m. on the 11th of November 1918, some 40,000 Welshmen had died as the result of the conflict. Barely a single corner of the country escaped the agony, and Ponte Wain was no exception, with many of its men never coming home. Their names were added to the Roll of Honour, located inside Trinity Congregational Church, which sits halfway up a hill just off the main road. But where is the war memorial? To find it, you have to look to Ponte Wain's neighbour Cwm Carn for the answer. Through many decades, the two villages shared a close relationship, and as a result, a joint war memorial was commissioned and unveiled on the 5th of March 1922 by Sir John Wyndham Beynon, 1st Baronet CBE. Engraved on its base are the local soldiers of both world wars and following conflicts who never returned to the valley. However, Ponte Wain is not without any kind of memorial in its own boundaries. Almost unknown in the cemetery of the church that holds the Roll of Honour is a grave in memory of a local family known as the Wests. Inscribed on the headstone are members of the family buried within, except for one, Lance Corporal William J. West. A resident of Cwm Carn, West, along with many others from the local villages, were part of the 130th St. John Field Ambulance and left for France in November 1915. They would eventually find themselves at the Battle of the Somme, stretcher bearing in the most hostile conditions during the Battle of Mametz Wood. On the 7th of July 1916, a narrow, mud-filled trench was choked with soldiers trying to get to the battle. The only way the 130th could evacuate the wounded was to carry the stretchers over open ground, in full view of shot and shell. It was to prove fatal for West. During a second trip back with stretcher cases, a single shell killed him instantly and wounded two others. At daylight on the 8th of July, the body of West was buried by his regiment near the trench, and was marked with a simple cross bearing his number, rank, name and unit. With the ongoing battle, the location of West's body would become lost, and his name would be added to the Thiepval Memorial in France, along with the 72,245 other missing servicemen who died in the Battle of the Somme with no known grave. Back home in Wales, Lance Corporal West's name was added to the family plot, providing the family a place to grieve and come to terms with their loss. Since 2016, and to support the Royal British Legion's Poppy Appeal, a group of community-minded residents from Ponte Wain have raised awareness of the village's circumstances in a unique way, by linking the memorials together with poppies. Starting at the Roll of Honour and Lance Corporal West's family grave at Trinity Congregational Church, every lamppost along the route in Ponte Wain displays 2 poppies, paid for by members of the community. Majestically, they make their way up the main street to the village boundary with Cwmcarn, and thanks to our neighbouring villagers, the poppies then continue through Cwmcarn and end at the small park where the joint war memorial stands, where both communities gather together on Remembrance Sunday to honour the fallen. In order to raise as much money as possible for the Royal British Legion, new Pontywaun poppies are purchased for the lampposts every year, while the old ones are added to the ever-increasing field of poppies that can now be seen when entering the village from the north. And the Pontywaun poppies continue to grow throughout the valley, as more and more neighbouring villages continue this new tradition, remembering all of those who paid the ultimate sacrifice in war and conflicts, so that we might live our lives in peace.